I was raped 2 years ago in 2015. And the man who raped me, he offered me a job in Washington, D.C. because he was bureau chief in one of the Japanese mainstream TV news station. We made an appointment to meet because we need to talk about working visa. It was hard to realize that someone you trust or someone you respect would do that. So I was scared because he was quite close to all the high-profile politicians. So it took time to me to think if this is the right thing to do, if anyone would believe me. I decided, okay, I'm going to police. And I knew that this would make me hard to work as a journalist in Japan to accuse such a high-profile journalist. In the end, when I got to the right person to talk to, he told me, these things happen a lot and we can't investigate. It will never be prosecuted, it will never be charged, and it's just a waste of time. But I told him, look, I know which hotel I came out. They must have security camera. Can you at least check that? So he did a few days after, and we saw that this man was pulling me out from the taxi. So this investigator said, okay, this is something. So I thought he would accept, he would file the case. But then he told me, look, you are accusing such a high-profile journalist. You have no chance to be a journalist in Japan.
That's what the investigator or detective said to you?
Investigator.
How did that make you feel?
It was quite a tough decision to make, although I had to do it because if I put lid on this truth that I have, then I shouldn't be a journalist. And also, I start having more questions. Why can't you investigate? Finally, one day they called me. The investigator decided to file the case. The court issued arrest warrant 2 months after that. And during the investigation, it was hard. Every time investigator has changed, they ask me if I was a virgin. Why would you ask these questions so many times? I stopped going for work. Every time I see the same similar figure man on the street, I became panic. So I decided, okay, maybe it's better for me to go outside of Japan.
So just to go back, so he was still in the United States, but there was an arrest warrant issued for him whilst he was still in the United States, is that right?
Yes.
So how did that go then? What happened there?
Investigator's plan was to wait at the Narita airport and arrest him as soon as he gets on land. But then investigator called me on the day they were gonna arrest, and he said there was order from above and they stopped the arrest. It was shocking because if once the court order arrest, investigator can't change it. But they did. So I asked why and how. He couldn't tell me. He said this is just so odd and rare.
Am I right in saying that you are the first person who has publicly said openly under her own name, I was raped, this is my story in this country?
I'm the first person who spoke up about rape by someone familiar.
What have you learned about your own country from your experience? What have you heard from other people since you have spoken out?
I was quite disappointed. I felt like everyone knew about me, so I couldn't go out anymore. So I had to disguise myself if I needed to go somewhere. And I started seeing these websites talking about my personal life, my family. I saw my family's photo. So I was scared if I go out with my family or with my friend, what's gonna happen to them? I couldn't leave the house. I decided to quit the media I was working for and be a freelancer, and I started working with British media. I had a chance to move to UK this summer, and that made me feel again like a person that I can go out.
Well, we're sitting here in Tokyo. How do you feel about Japan and being in Tokyo now? And do you feel any change at all?
Finally, I do feel small changes. Politicians are now talking about it at the Diet, at the Parliament, and they finally changed the rape law, which hasn't changed for 110 years. As a journalist, I tried many different ways to talk about it through media, but none of these worked. So in the end, I had to be the one who speak out about it. And sadly, sexual violence could happen anywhere, anytime in the world. But I was more shocked by what had happened afterwards. That made me really hopeless. I never realized that what kind of society I was living. Okay, legal system, it will take time, but the social system can change to support and help, and that would make a major change for survivors to take a next step. Now, I do see some positive movement, so I am very optimistic.